All right, attendees coming in, people rolling in. Looks like we've got a decent sized crowd today. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday right here in mid-July. Welcome to Mongoose and your CRM. So, if you could in the chat put what Mongoose you are feeling like today. I'm feeling kind of sassy. I hit that per my previous email type of email earlier today, so I'm feeling like a number 9. Um, it's Thursday, so I'm also feeling like a number 4, kind of like contented. So I'm doing okay. Ashley, how you doing? What are you feeling like today?
Oh, I'm always feeling like a number two.
Is that how it is in support?
It's just me, not
Oh, it's
support.
just you. Okay, all right. All right. Jake, what you got for me, man?
I think I'm going to be a number 5 today. I've been on a lot of calls today. I'm busy. I have a lot of stuff to get done before we head into the weekend. A few chats with some clients going forward. So it's all good and exciting stuff. After work today, I'll go into number 7 mode, a little bit
Right?
zen.
I like that we have like people that are on the whole entire scale. I've got like somebody at like a 2, and then I've got like a Zen person at number 7, and everything in I've got a number 1. I love it. Okay, I'm pretty much getting them all. Well, I hope everybody moves into that number 7 mode. So we'll go
I
ahead
like number 1.
and
Number 1's a rare archetype. We don't see
it
many number ones
really
Hopefully,
in
no one's
is.
areas.
number one when they email support.
Or you will be number 7 after your support ticket is closed.
I like the
It is.
friendly reminder of number 8. That's very nice.
All right, folks, as we go through the webinar, a couple housekeeping things. We've got a Q&A. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and pop those into the Q&A. We'll get to those. And then, of course, we've got Jake, who's going to be manning the chat. He'll be helping out. So we'll go ahead and kick things off now and go ahead and get started. So welcome to Mongoose and your CRM. I am going to actually go ahead and launch a quick poll here. The question is, what CRM are you currently using? Just honestly curious. We just want to be able to tailor the webinar to kind of what you guys are using and just kind of see kind of where everybody's at. So go ahead and pop that in there. What's everybody using? Um, Geez, no black bods. Okay, no love for that. All right, we got an anthology. We've got Lucy and a lot of Salesforce, a lot of Slate. No Workday yet. Nobody looking for a new system. That one's down at the bottom. You got an other down at the bottom. If you are in that other category, pop that in chat. Element 451's coming through. Okay. Okay. Nice. Cool. But most of it's going to be Salesforce. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share the results so everybody can see that and just kind of see where everybody's going. So mostly Salesforce, Slate, Lucy, and a lot of those. Nobody looking for anything. A couple things across the board, and then a couple others, which are the Element 451s. So I'm going to introduce us, and so go ahead and pop on over to the next slide. My name is Dylan. I'm the moderator, and I've got Ashley here with me. She works over in product support. So you contact support, it's going to be Ashley or her main cohort.
Phil.
Yes, Phil. Okay. Phil, I haven't met him yet. I need to get on a one-on-one with him and hang out with him. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and kick off, get started, and Ashley, go ahead and take it away.
Cool. Um, so as kind of Dylan was saying, Phil and I kind of manage the support world here at Mongoose, and integrations tend to be one of the probably most common conversations that we're having with clients, whether you are just getting started with Mongoose, and looking to figure out what we integrate with, kind of can we integrate with your system, how to do it, or if you are one of our longest using clients who maybe just has questions about maybe switching from one system to another. So I'm glad I didn't see any of those kind of in the poll there. Maybe you have more technical questions or need something to do with a custom configuration. Maybe you finally have some more resources to kind of dig into more of a custom option. We provide a lot of options for you to kind of help depending where you're at and kind of your resources on campus, but we try to make it as simple as possible for you to be able to integrate with us without necessarily always needing your IT or technical team from your institution. So kind of today we're looking at, Mongoose, what we integrate with, how we integrate with other systems, looking at the data flows there, and just kind of talking a little bit about how that works with your systems beyond texting, some of the advantages and the real world impact. So as we kind of alluded to in the poll there, I wanted to kind of get an idea of where everybody is using. I was not shocked to see that majority of folks are doing Slate, Salesforce, and some sort of Ellucian product. Those are probably the top three that I'm consistently working with. But again, if you have something on there that you selected other for, Element 451, particularly. Dylan, what were some of the other ones in there that kind of came up?
Yeah, there was a lot of, there was like one on Anthology, nobody on Workday, nobody Blackbod. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Anthology is another one that we've heard of. I think is it Anthology Engage or something like along those lines. We definitely get the gambit of questions around integrations. Can we integrate with them? And I really wanted to kind of pose this webinar to be geared towards the options that we have, especially because we could really work with different teams across campus using different CRMs, SISs, ERPs. So you don't have to be stuck to only using Salesforce. If another team, maybe like your financial aid team or the registrar's office is maybe using something homegrown, or maybe your advancement team is using Blackbod. Those kinds of things, we have different ways to integrate with them so that your data stays the most up to date as you're doing your texting. So I kind of broke this down into a couple different buckets, and this slide here really is going to kind of be our most manual to kind of most custom, and then we're going to kind of get into the native integrations on the next slide. So oftentimes when clients are reaching out asking about, can we integrate with something, we kind of look at it in a couple different ways. We look at, do we have a native integration? If not, let's figure out the best way we can integrate with your system. So most of our clients actually start out using the manual option. This is basically a file upload or a copy paste. So this is great for maybe smaller teams, those who aren't sure what they want to do yet. Maybe you don't have the resources yet to kind of get something set up with FTP or API, or you're in the process of a switch, maybe switching from one of the Anthology products to Slate or to Salesforce, and you kind of want to still be able to text, but you haven't quite figured out, that system in place yet of having all your data into your system of record. But most of our clients start out using manual, and it's a very easy switch from manual to any of the options that I'm going to talk about. But manually, all you need is a CSV file, so like an Excel file where you can either copy and paste or upload that file right in. So it's very simple. It works for even the less tech savvy folks out there. You don't need your IT team. If you can export the file, we can get that in Mongoose. The next kind of more slightly automated option is our FTP option. So this works off of a server that your institution hosts, but it essentially makes it so that we can pull files from your server and put information back onto your server automatically. So instead of you having to go into Mongoose and manually upload that file or manually copy and paste that information in, if your system can send that information to your server, we could pull it in. It has options up to 6 times per day. So you can really kind of keep your information the most updated as that information is as it's being updated and modified in your system. So this kind of works basically similar to the manual option, but it makes that more automated piece by Mongoose is grabbing it directly. You don't have to manually drop it in. Now, the one thing here is it does not connect directly to your system of record. As I mentioned, we pull it from your server, and then we send message activity and opt-outs back to your server. And then you would take that information, kind of configure it so that it goes into your system of record where you want it to be and where it's most helpful. This might involve campus IT a little bit. I have that little asterisk there, just because some folks do want more of an automated process from their system of record to the server and back. And then our most customizable option, and this is probably one of the most automated options as well, is our API. So we have an open REST-based API that basically allows you to almost mimic the options that we provide you in Mongoose, but do them kind of more in real time based on how you set them up. So this option works great if, maybe one of our native integrations doesn't do exactly what you're looking for. Maybe you want to have something completely custom, you want to build something out. This involves using your campus IT or campus developer. So we'll provide a series of documentation for your team to be able to kind of set this up, but you can import contacts in real time. So if a contact changes in your CRM, they get added, maybe they filled out an application, you can have that automatically get pushed to Mongoose right away. If a status changes, for example, they go from applied to accepted at your university, you could have it automatically trigger a text message to those students. Anytime something changes like that, or if you want to have them deleted out of Mongoose because maybe they're now withdrawn from your institution. The API really allows the most customizable option. Again, it just requires someone on your side who's familiar with your CRM or your system of record to kind of help make those two systems talk together. But it really does give you the most flexibility in terms of automation. After those three options, we kind of look then to our native integrations and kind of what does native integration mean? You'll probably hear your Mongoose rep talk about native integrations, but what does that actually mean? That really just means that we've pre-built and connected a system for you. Basically, you plug in your pieces and get it working. So essentially, it's going to work out of the box. There's not a lot of custom setup needed. And most of the time, you really don't need your IT team or any of those developer type roles to work on this. This essentially just means as long as you're a power user of your CRM, maybe you're a CRM admin, whatever that is, can kind of get these set up and ready to go. These can be kind of set up very quickly. Again, it's kind of plug and chug, pop that information in there, map things, and then you can initiate those imports. And we'll automatically start bringing things in and sending message activity and opt-outs back to your system. Now we have a couple different native integrations. So I think the best way to look at this is if you see your system on this list, we have a native integration. If you don't see your system, so something like Element 451, or maybe one of the anthology products that's not Radius or Connect, we would then look back to that previous slide, so that manual FTP or API option. But you can see we work with Slate and we work with Salesforce. Those are the top two that I saw a lot of folks replying about. Those two are also available for our chat tool. So if you are using our text tool and our chat tool, you can have both of those connected, where not only are your messages and opt-outs and everything going back to Salesforce, but any of those chat leads that you're capturing can also go back to Salesforce or Slate. We work with Banner, Colleague, and Recruit with Ellucian. And actually one of the more newer integrations, and I'm going to kind of preface this with a little bit of an asterisk, is Advise. We are having some clients starting to use our Advise integration. I think the key thing there is we don't have a UI for it yet. We're still building that out, but we have quite a few schools actually bringing contacts in from Advise. It's going to work just like the Recruit integration. We just have to build out that UI for you so you can kind of manually plug everything in, get everything squared away. But essentially, if you're interested in Advise, you can reach out to the support team and we'll put you in contact with our development team and they'll kind of help you configure things. But that is a new integration that you should be seeing very soon if you don't already have it kind of set up and working. Blackbaud NXT, so Razor's Edge NXT for our advancement folks. We have that integration, we have Workday, and then I know these two are kind of slowly trickling out. Believe it or not, if I had asked that poll question probably back in 2017, 2018, Radius probably would have been #1 on that list, or at least one of the top 3. But I know Anthology kind of has been phasing Radius and Connect out for some of the other newer integrations that it has. But so essentially, again, if you see your integration here, we have something for you to kind of plug in, get it working right away out of the box. If not, we can always kind of discuss which option works better based on the FTP, API, or manual options. But also don't hesitate to let us know which ones you are using because we can submit those as feature requests to make sure that our product team is aware that we have clients wanting to use things. Element 451, for example, the more requests for that we get, the higher prioritization it'll get so that we can actually start building that out. I did create a little integration breakdown for you to kind of highlight the integrations that we have, but also just give you a little bit more information just so that you can kind of see how things update in real time, or if they don't update in real time, how frequently they update daily. So you can see here I have our FTP API, Slate through Workday across the top. And then we kind of look at the system. So for Salesforce, we work with TargetX, JRM, essentially any of the Salesforce products that you can create reports, lists, reports or a list view, and pull in contacts or leads. We have Blackbaud, we have Eluci and Recruit and Advise. We work with Colleague and Banner on Ethos, and kind of where they're pulling information from. For example, Slates or queries. And kind of look through there. Almost all of our integrations have up to 25 customizable fields. Ethos is a little limited, but we are working on getting that updated. And then there's a few options that I like to highlight here on this send to source. So if you are using Slate or using NXT, you have the ability to send to those lists or those queries directly from Mongoose. So instead of having to create a segment, which you still absolutely can do, you have the ability to trigger a text message to those specific queries or to those specific lists to really reach those students without necessarily always having to go into your system, create a list, copy and paste it into Mongoose or using the criteria. You have that ability to have it as the most up-to-date query or list that you have in your system. As you can see, some of these are in real time, so your system of record will update automatically and immediately. Sometimes they're a little bit more on either on demand or up to 3 or 4 times per day. But you have lots of options to make sure that your systems are staying updated, especially those opt-outs. You know, we don't want students and prospective students and alumni not having that opt-out updated and getting text messages that maybe they asked not to get. And then along the bottom is that point where I indicated most of our integrations don't require you to need your IT team. Most of them will just be, as long as you're an admin and can create a specific type of user, you'll be able to kind of integrate with us, no problem. You don't have to involve your IT team, where the FTP and API options do probably have a little bit more of a workload there for those teams as you get started. Now, it wouldn't be support of me to not have a support plug on this webinar. You know, we're always looking to learn and see kind of what you guys are doing with your integrations. But we're always happy to help and just talk through any of the integration options just to kind of help you find the best fit for you, your team's needs. As I kind of mentioned a little bit in the beginning, with all of these different integrations, each team can have its own integration. So if you're in admissions and you're using Slate, but maybe your advancement team's using NXT, you can have all of those different options on each team kind of working independently, but all still helping you automate that data flow. We're happy to answer questions about those integrations. If you're having any integration issues, maybe you have an import error that you're not sure how to fix. Maybe someone's not coming over and you're not sure why. But we're also there to conduct, you know, demos or integration assistance calls, walk you through the integration, answer any of those particular questions that you might have. You know, does it pull from here? Well, what if I want to do this? So definitely reach out to us and support. We'll definitely be able to kind of help you pick the best option for you, your teams, and basically kind of what's going on campus. I did also want to highlight a few of the other resources that we have. So if you haven't checked out our knowledge base, which, by the way, Phil and I probably have written every doc in there. And John, if you've ever been on any of the other webinars with John Caruso, our product manager, we have basically written out the entire knowledge base. So check it out because I wrote them. We have a bunch of different integration option docs there as well. And then there's a support call request form that I have here, where if you do want to kind of request a call with Phil or I to walk through an integration, just have some questions, go through troubleshooting, you can fill that out. It'll tell us, you know, some dates that you request, and we'll be able to reply back and get that scheduled. And then I know Dylan put here for you some product information sheets just about each of the integrations themselves. And then, of course, the marketplace within Mongoose, where you can kind of see everything that we offer in terms of integrations and additional add-ons. And there's the marketplace. Dylan, I think I'm passing this part back to you. Is that right?
You're passing the next
I could talk
portion.
this part. It's fine.
Go for it.
Sure. So within Mongoose, if you haven't already been here, this is our Mongoose Marketplace. It essentially allows you to see at a glance all the different options that we have, whether it's integrations, maybe you want to connect with your international students and get our WhatsApp solution. Maybe you want to kind of get some additional API information or number validation. You have this one-stop shop for kind of all of your integration needs. You can easily activate it by clicking, I think if you click the enable button, it'll send a message to your client success lead. just so that they know, hey, like I'm interested in this. You'll be able to see what to expect before you enable it. We have little snippets in here of how they work. But essentially everything, all you need in one place. It links to the knowledge base docs. So if there's not anything here that you see, definitely reach out and we'll definitely be able to kind of help point you in the right direction.
All
Now,
right, good stuff. So why integrate with Mongoose, right? So here's what it kind of looks like in the real world. So schools that integrate their CRM with Mongoose consistently report like faster response times, higher conversion resolution rates. So once data starts flowing automatically, then your team can start acting on it immediately. Whether that's sending a personalized, nudges to prospective students or alumni on days of giving, or just straight up following up on student behavior. So you also see measurable impact coming in on those engagement rates. So we've seen campuses boost message open rates and response rates by as much as 30–50% after integration just by ensuring that your data is accurate and more importantly actionable so that you guys can take action and really kind of help make that difference. So there's a huge time savings for your staff, less manual entries means fewer errors, fewer repetitive tasks, things like that. And that is going to really give you more time and energy to kind of focus on strategy and student success. So integration isn't just like a technical win, right? It's actually a strategic advantage that's going to help your team do more with less, which is the direction that a lot of universities are unfortunately going right now. So if we can be there to help you, that's perfect. So let me go ahead and talk about our roadmap in the next slide. So let's take a quick look at what's coming from Mongoose, constantly evolving the platform, right? To kind of give you guys at your institutions the tools you need to communicate smarter and more efficiently. So right now we're focused on enhancing our core areas of strength. So across the Conversation Hub, Intelligence Hub, and like AI content compliance layers. And this includes things like improved conversation resolution follow-ups, expanding integration options, as Ashley mentioned, and new tools like engagement scores. So next up, you'll see like more intelligent features roll out, like the cognitive insights module and expanded performance insights. So, but we're also working on helping to improve Mongoose on the go with more mobile app updates coming in the works. And then looking ahead to 2020, later on 25, early 26, excited to launch our benchmark insight module, which is kind of like AI-driven suggestions in the module and continued enhancements, of course, for AI agents. And these additions are really kind of designed to drive automation, personalization, and smarter overall campus communication. So, as always, roadmap things are subject to change, but the direction is clear, doubling down on intelligence, integration, and impact for you guys. So moving on to the next slide, we're going to move on to Q&A. I do have a quick uh, last minute poll on if you guys want an integration, if you have one that you'd like to activate. You don't have it now. I'd like to activate it. Let me know and we'll get you helped out. It is completely easy to do, and we'll talk about how easy it is with Ashley. Well, Ashley, how easy is it, right, to get an integration going as you guys are answering?
yeah, it really is going to depend on which integration you're looking at. If it's one of our native ones, we turn that on and you can get started right away. I've seen, folks take as little as 15 minutes to get that set up. Where I've seen some other teams, obviously, if they're newer to a system, maybe they're still learning Slate or learning Salesforce, they may take a little while to kind of get all of the stuff ready in Slate or Salesforce for it, and it might take a couple weeks. But essentially, the native ones are ready for you to kind of plug away. You can get it done within at least an hour for sure. Our FTP is also built out. It just requires that server part. So you may have to reach out to your IT team for that part, but the mapping and getting stuff imported relatively quickly. I think the most potential time-consuming one would be our API, just because that does require a developer to write some of the coding. But essentially, we build these out to be super user-friendly and super quick to get set up. And if there's any of these that you're looking for more information on, we definitely have docs in our knowledge base on all of them. But we also in support can walk you through them just to kind of give you an idea of kind of the workload that it might take to get them set up based on your situation.
So speaking of like workload, do people need to include their IT team? I know that that's kind of a question or concern for a lot of folks.
Not usually, no. Most of the integrations, at least the native ones that we have, most of those folks are just their system admin. So their CRM admin. And by CRM admin, it doesn't necessarily have to be your database admin. It could potentially just be a power user of the system. So if you can create, for example, for Slate, if you can create source formats and a service account, you could totally set this up without needing your IT team. The Salesforce integration, if you can set up a connected app and set up a specific type of API user, you don't need your IT team. So a lot of those, we really try to make it as easy as it possibly can without necessarily needing your IT team, because I know those IT folks can sometimes slow things down based on the number of projects they might have on their plate. So we try to eliminate that issue for you.
For sure. And then what about like somebody was asking questions about like students' profiles being taken out of Salesforce, name changes, opt-outs, stuff like that. Does that get sent back to systems or how does that work?
Yeah, so when we import contacts from your system of record, we'll bring in the 4 required fields for Mongoose, which are first name, last name, mobile number, and then your either if it's student ID, Salesforce ID, Slate ID, whatever you kind of have that map to. And then we have an opt-out option that you could bring over, a staff assignment option, and then the 25 additional custom fields. We will never change anything in your system of record other than that opt-out. We'll send message activity over, but we will only ever change the opt-out for you. We don't change names. If you change them in Mongoose, we're not going to send that back to your system of record, just because your system of record typically is the source of truth. So if you update, say Dylan to Jake, their next import should update Dylan's record to now say Jake. We act as that kind of create update system, but we will update opt-outs for sure.
Nice. Jake, did you happen to see anything more? I know I saw somebody asking about
Yeah, I had a
the
few. We had a pretty
PowerPoint.
active chat. I was able to get to most of them, but I did have a few, Ashley, that I told some of these folks that I would flag for you at the end because I thought you'd be able to get into a little bit more detail. So we had one from Catherine. So Catherine said it would be nice to have contacts be automatically uploaded into Mongoose, currently not an option with Ellucian. And I got a little bit more information from Catherine. She said that they're transitioning into Banner 9. So would that be causing an issue for them to have the contacts automatically uploaded?
I guess the question would be if your Banner 9 is on Ethos. Our Ethos integration is currently still a little more limited just because of when it was kind of created. Not everything was available on Ethos. We just have to circle back to it to kind of update those custom fields that you're able to really bring over to make it more useful. You could always just bring the basics over with our Banner Ethos integration. However, with that one, I would honestly say let's probably go FTP option if you can, just because you have that ability to bring those 25 customizable fields over, which tends to be really what folks are looking for to create those segments, to really personalize those text messages. But either way, we'll submit it as a feature request just to keep that kind of process updating for our product team to know that we have more folks using Banner 9, so we can get that integration updated.
Great, thanks, Ashley. I have another one from Jake. So Jake is using Recruit, and he said that they love the integration. One thing that they would like to see, and I don't know if this is on our roadmap at all, or maybe we need to submit as a feature request, but would we ever have the ability to text out of the Recruit communication platform?
That's a great question. I do not know the answer to it. I'm honestly thinking we probably would have to ask our product team, or our development team would have to kind of investigate that a little bit. I think it really just kind of depends on what is available in that Dynamics API for us to be able to do that.
Okay. We have one from Nick. Nick said, how does the integration assistance work if you don't currently work with the platform?
As in?
We might need a little bit more information on that one, Nick, if you can throw a little bit more in the chat.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Nick.
Yep, we'll go on to the next one then from Anil. Anil said, I am curious if there's a conversation about having Mongoose as an app in Salesforce and send text messages through the CRM, for example, Mongoose.
We we definitely have talked about it. That would be definitely a thing that we'd have to check with our product team on to see kind of where they want to go moving forward. But we definitely had a very basic app in the past, but it got very quickly unsupported based on some of the API stuff that we had with Salesforce. So I know we eliminated that, but I know we've talked about it for sure. But if you haven't, and we don't, or if you haven't, let your CSL know or us in the support team know, and we'll get that submitted as a feature request. Because as I said, the more we hear that stuff, the easier it is to kind of get it in front of our product team.
Okay, thanks. One just came in from Andy. If they have two separate teams and somebody opts out in one, are they able to opt out on both teams then automatically, or is that more of a manual process?
Is this the one with the recruit and advise?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. So Andy, it would be a slightly different opt-out field, I think. We connect to those completely separately, based on, I think it could be the same user, but I believe we connect to them separately. So it would be it'd be dependent on kind of how you map that opt-out. If you were using, for example, recruit in two different teams and you both mapped both teams to the same opt-out field, then yes, when you opt out of the one, the other team would then get opted out. Now, if you don't want the opt-out to be across all of the teams that you have it mapped to, I would just recommend creating maybe a new custom field or something else that you can map it to so that one stays opted in to say, student success versus admissions.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. Do you see the next one from Ayana? And the one from Jennifer? We just had two more that came in.
I just have the fields to the contact. Yeah, so depending on kind of what you're setting up, at least with I don't know if you have FTP or API. Either way, if you're going kind of the manual route, FTP or API, it's very easy to get those fields updated. If you're not bringing one over that you need, you can add it to your list as long as you're within that 25. And then essentially, if it's on a CSV file, you would just make sure it's a column on that file and have the data in there, and it'll update and add it to those contacts. It should be a quick, easy update. If it ever changes, the next import, whatever's in that value, will update it to that one as well. Jennifer. As of right now, I don't believe editing, so she had asked if you could update the fields for a contact on the contacts page instead of doing an upload. As of right now, I don't believe that's on the roadmap, only because we consider the CRM or your system of record the source of truth. So we want to make sure that what is coming in for a student is what you have in your system. Like, we don't want to be having, mismatched data essentially, where, maybe you've updated a bunch of fields in Mongoose, and that since we don't update your system of record with that kind of information, then it'd be kind of mismatched. So we pull everything based off of kind of your source of truth.
Okay. Oh, I believe we just got one in from Nick then. They're transitioning to Element 451 and have not gone live yet, but are interested in a comprehensive process as they prepare to move into a CRM. They don't currently use a CRM, they use Banner.
So are you switching? So switching potentially from Banner to Element 451 is what you're thinking, Nick. Either way, I would probably say let's look at the FTP or API options. The FTP will definitely probably be a little bit less of a workload if you don't have a developer on campus. But we can it essentially allows you to map to a CSV file that you pull from Element 451, for example. So if there's a bunch of fields and things in the Element that you are finding useful, we can pull that information in, no problem with that. It would be almost essentially kind of like a CSV file like you would for manual, but we would pull that in more automatically and keep that updated. You would just have to get the message activity and opt out, so we send back to the server, back into Element 451 and updated. But I have heard clients ask about this one, so we'll definitely continue to add these as feature requests so that more folks know on our product team that Element 451 is a potential feature that people are looking for.
Okay, and then we had one last one come in from Lisa regarding can they change the time of the integrations with Salesforce?
So with Salesforce, we have the 3 optional times. There's a morning, an afternoon, and an evening. those can't be customized at the current moment in time, but you can select one or all three of the options, kind of any combination of them, mainly just to reduce the API hits to Salesforce. I know Salesforce sometimes has a specific number of hits that their API can have per institution. So to kind of minimize the number of API hits, we kind of limited it to 3. However, if at any point you do need information updated, there are export options in Mongoose that you can trigger and export back to Salesforce. So you can kind of get that information as quickly updated, especially if you have like an event or something like that and you have a bunch of registrations, you can export that information back to Salesforce automatically.
Nice. Good stuff. All right, folks. Support call request form. That's how you get this. There's also the link in the knowledge base. You guys will have the PowerPoint. I will send out the PowerPoint. So you guys will see everything in here. You will have all the links. So if you ever need Ashley, you ever need Phil, holler at us. We are here. Now, the next Mongoose user group is going to be next month. Next month on August the 7th. Now, this is over Mongoose best practices. So I'll once again be hosting. We'll have maybe some CSMs, people like that coming in, hollering at you and helping you out, getting those extra helpful tips coming in. So August 7th. Now, this is not the end, though. This is not the end of the Mongoose user group. The Mongoose user group will continue. We will just be moving on from a recurring webinar into a more one-off, but we'll still have them, monthly. It just is moving off a recurring thing. So we're not sure what's going to happen after that. Probably WhatsApp. So, but we'll see what happens. I really appreciate everybody. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thanks so much, Jake, for everybody hopping on. I really appreciate y'all. And thanks to you guys for coming in, jumping in, and asking all these questions and being a Mongoose user. We appreciate it. Thanks, folks. Have a
Thanks
great
for
rest
bearing
of
with
the
me,
day.
guys.
Thanks. Bye.